Fortunate Son, the story of Jay Dhaliwal and the Patch. Chapter 1. A Mother's Love, a Son's Mission. The story of Super Patch doesn't begin in a lab or a boardroom. It begins in a living room in 1983 with a diagnosis that would change everything. Jay was just a boy when his mother received the news: multiple sclerosis. A mysterious, misunderstood condition that, at the time, was little more than a black box in the world of medicine. Unknown causes, no treatments, no answers. Within 2 years, she was completely disabled. The vibrant, loving woman who had once cared for everyone around her now needed round-the-clock care herself. It was the first time I realized, Jay recalls, that science doesn't have all the answers, and medicine doesn't always bring healing. His family did what families do. They pulled together. They became her strength. Jay, still a child, found himself stepping into a role few his age could fathom. Yet it was not pity or sadness that defined this period. It was love. It was courage. It was the power of human spirit. My mother was the strongest person I've ever known, Jay says. Even as her body failed her, her spirit never wavered. She never stopped loving. She never stopped hoping. Jay adds, I've been blessed with incredible parents. From my mother I learned strength. From my father I learned the truest example of devotion and commitment. My father was a young man in his 30s when Mom was diagnosed. He has never left her side for a day. His commitment to her has always been a beacon for me about our commitment to each other. That strength would become the flame that guided Jay's entire life. Chapter 2. Silicon Gold Rush. As Jay grew, so did his fascination with technology. He earned a degree in software engineering just as the internet began to bloom, stepping into the digital world in its most explosive, electrifying phase, the dot-com boom. The energy was intoxicating, Jay remembers. Every minute felt like a new frontier, new ways to communicate, sell, learn, build. Through hard work, relentless curiosity, and the kind of sharp intellect that thrives in chaos, Jay carved out a fortune. By the age of 29, he had amassed close to $100 million. It was the wild west of tech, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time, he says. But for Jay, that wealth wasn't just a milestone, it was a lifeline. It gave him the means to take his mother to the ends of the earth in search of answers. We saw nearly 100 specialists in over a dozen countries, Jay says. We chased every glimmer of hope, but every light at the end of the tunnel turned out to be a train. He became a student of neuroscience, sitting with the world's leading doctors and researchers. What he discovered was a deeply limited medical paradigm. 3 primary options for neurodegenerative conditions: pharmaceuticals, electrical implants, or invasive surgery. None of them worked. None of them were acceptable. Chapter 3. A Search for Significance. By 2009, Jay had everything, on paper: a loving wife, 2 bright children, a fortune built from nothing, and a career of staggering success. But something was missing. I had checked every box, but I didn't feel fulfilled. Not truly, Jay reflects, because every morning I'd still walk into my mother's room, kiss her good morning, and know that I had not yet helped her. This was the moment that changed everything. A quiet questioning of everything he believed, of every conclusion the experts had given him. He began to revisit every theory, every assumption. One afternoon, he asked a simple question to a neuroscientist who had worked with him for over a decade. Can we quantify the signal that's been interrupted from my mother's brain to her body? The answer: Jay, this isn't software. But Jay thought, why not? Chapter 4. First Principles and New Frontiers. Jay had spent his career making sense out of chaos, building encryption systems, translating noise into logic, so why couldn't the same be done for the brain? He dove headfirst into neuroscience, neurology, and quantum biology, seeking to understand the neural networks that govern the body's every function. It became clear we've been missing the forest for the trees. Jay identified 6 core truths that would shape the future of his work. The brain controls the body through a stream of neural information. These streams are waves, a complex, multidimensional orchestra of neural networks. Better brain function are better body function. These waves can be measured and quantified. Suboptimal networks can be transformed to normal. With the right input, health can be restored from the inside out. Jay believed that if the brain's communication systems could be seen clearly, they could be repaired. But to do that, he needed data, and lots of it. That's when he discovered the Loretta EEG database, 250,000 brain scans from people ages 2 to 85, the gold standard of neural data. Chapter 5. Cracking the Code of the Mind. The software that came with the database wasn't nearly enough. But for Jay, a master of coding, that wasn't a roadblock. It was a challenge. For me, this was just another kind of encryption, he explains. Another puzzle to solve. Over 3 years and nearly 5 million lines of code, Jay developed proprietary software that could analyze EEG waveforms like never before. The result was nothing short of revolutionary. It's like the James Webb Telescope, but for the mind. What he found was extraordinary. Patterns of neural networks directly correlated with specific human functions. Balance, sleep, energy, emotional regulation, and more. When he compared these to his mother's brain patterns and those of others with MS, the correlation was striking. Her vestibular and muscle contraction networks were operating far below normal. So the question became, can waves be transformed? From biology to physics. Chapter 6. Waves of Change. Every physicist knows, to change a wave, you introduce another wave. So how do you get new waves into the human nervous system? Not with drugs, not with implants, not with surgery. Jay returned to first principles. How do waves already enter our nervous system? Light, photons transformed into thoughts, memories, emotions. Sound, vibrations transformed into music, language, understanding. Touch, skin transformed into sensation, communication, meaning. That's when it hit him. Braille. If the blind can read books with their fingertips, what else can the skin tell the brain? Jay asked. What started as a question became a breakthrough. VTT, vibrotactile technology, a system of intricate, proprietary textures and ridges that stimulate the skin, sending precise signals to the brain to help restore underperforming neural networks. He called it Braille for the brain. Chapter 7. A New Era of Wellness. Over 15 years, Jay identified 13 unique neural networks and created 13 corresponding superpatch designs, each embedded with precise textures that interact with the body's own sensory system to support better sleep pain relief, energy, stress management, balance, strength focus, mobility, and more. Backed by rigorous testing and 6 published peer-reviewed studies, with more on the way, the technology is already changing lives. And the most astonishing part? No drugs, no chemicals, no side effects, just signal, just science. Chapter 8. Purpose Found. In 2009, purpose found me, Jay says. I started this to help my mom. Her inspiration has allowed us to help millions across the world. Today, SuperPatch and its VTT technology are redefining what's possible in human health and performance. Although Jay could not solve his mother's MS, the technology Jay has developed allows her to enjoy an incredible life of hope, energy, strength, and vitality unseen in a person diagnosed with MS for over 40 years. Jay's journey, fueled by love, sharpened by science, driven by relentless curiosity, proves a single powerful truth. When the world says there is no way, purpose will find one.